Define in your business the income producing activity. It's probably not the colors of your logo. It's probably the messaging. It's probably how you get the product out. It's probably defining what the product is and getting it in front of the people who need your product or service. And
all right, guys. Hey, welcome to another episode of the Practical Wealth Show. So I am excited because I've known this individual for at least 4 or 5 years. We met at a real estate event I think I was speaking at, and then I've heard her speak, and she's got she's quite famous. So I'm honored, right? And has a big, robust YouTube channel and a huge following. So I have Miss Terri Couser today. We're going to talk about credit. We're going to talk about multiple streams of income. We're going to talk about her journey, and from the bottom, we went from the bottom to the top. Now we're here.
1,000%.
So Terri, welcome to the Practical Wealth Show, and tell them a little about yourself, where you came from, your story, and then let's get into some tactical things that they can do to improve their situation.
Look, that's it. That's the question. I can go on for hours. So first of all, thank you for having me here. I'm super excited to kind of share with you and your audience. So, Terri, the credit expert, and, I am a single mother of 3, a self-employed entrepreneur, an investor, a YouTuber, a business coach. But the reason why I'm so passionate about credit is because looking good on paper is the thing that was my vehicle to change my life. And so I'm very big. I have a wealth building ministry, and it's really about education, especially in certain communities that don't have access to financial literacy, financial freedom in school, at the dining room table, in college. And so my story started with, foster care, started with group homes, started with being a mom at the age of 17, where all of the dialogue is, you ruined your life, you're going to be on welfare, you're not going to graduate. And I have some odds, right? I'm a minority, I'm a female, I'm from foster care, both parents addicted to drugs, and I'm a teen mom, right? So nobody really expected much from me. And to be honest with you, at that time frame, I didn't expect much from myself either. And then, I was blessed, to have, one of my first corporate positions be TransUnion, one of the 3 national credit bureaus, changed my entire life. And I learned how to leverage looking good on paper. And you kind of fast forward from being a teen mom at the age of 17 to buying my first property at the age of 21, while only making $14 an hour. Wow. Right. Look, come on, somebody. All my friends is going on, going to Cancun, and everybody buying cars and doing all these things. I was buying property in that house. I call it my belief house, because that was the beginning of my mindset shift. That was the beginning of my financial literacy. That was the aha moment for me, where I realized that looking good on paper can change not only my life, but the generations coming behind me. And then, now I have a wealth building ministry where I educate, thousands of people across the globe at this point about financial literacy, multiple streams of income, and using credit as a vehicle to build their wealth.
So before I go there, what's interesting in what you just said there. So at what point at $14 an hour at TransUnion that you started to, like, you're looking at all this stuff, and then so a lot of people will work at a multi-million-dollar corporation, but the what's going on goes completely past them. So how can I model? Like, people work at McDonald's. McDonald's is like, there people write books on the E-Myth, right? The business process of McDonald's, and they miss the whole thing. They just hitting the button and drop fries in the back. You know what I mean? They don't see the forest through the trees. What caused you to see that, hey, I could apply some of this stuff to improving my situation?
Yes, 1,000%. And I actually like what you mentioned about McDonald's, because literally their business model is phenomenal. Like, I know that I have multimillionaires in my circle who have franchises started at the drive-thru, because that's part of their culture. Look, success leaves clues, like we were talking about. So for me, the catalyst to change was me being a mom at the age of 17. And I just knew that from what my life was like, because, I had a lot of trauma, a lot of, things went on in my youth that, I was on a road of self-destruction. So then when I became a mother, I was like, my son will not grow up like me. So it
Right.
gave me my reason why.
Right.
And so when I got to TransUnion, at that point, I already had the mindset, I need to do something differently to change his reality. And it started there with just, and mind you, look, I'm 45, y'all, okay? So this is before social media, before YouTube, before Instagram. I didn't want to have a house I can do a selfie, right?
Right.
For me, a property represents stability. I just was like, I want one house to call home for my, at my point, family was me and my son.
Right.
And if you work at some place like TransUnion, you work at a bank, you work and I preach this, and you don't use that knowledge for yourself, you are crazy, because literally now I'm the only person, I would say only, show me somebody else, I'm the only person that's on YouTube that's even in this consumer education space that actually worked for a national bureau. Everybody else read a book or learned from somebody else or just did their own credit, but I was trained by the National Credit Bureau. So that's all it was. I had a reason why, which was my son. And then God coupled that with, a resource, and I put the two together and I never looked back.
It's funny because I attract a lot of women, or my clients. I
love it.
Almost 70%. But what I love is that they're like you, because guys can, I won't curse, BS around. Okay.
Right.
But you had somebody looking up to you with a mouth to feed, and so you got to grow up and get serious really fast, right? And that's what in general, that's what I found. So people are like, all right, they're doing it, and then you and I basically just give them guidance. We're like, I always tell people, look, I'm not the hero of the story. You are. I'm Yoda, right? I'm the guide, right? You're Leia. Right?
Yeah.
So, okay. So talk to them about, so hope I don't take you off your square, because I like to talk to people.
No, here we go. Look, the shenanigans. Let's go. I'm ready for it.
No, I'm finished that part. So now I want you to go into, not that bad. So I want you to go into the how, basically your journey into, let's talk about credit. So credit, so let me put it, you correct me if I'm wrong. I always tell people bad credit is a result.
1,000%.
Of
1,000%.
of not, because like what I try to do in the financial space is treat the disease. But credit is a symptom. But there are strategies and tactics. But I want you to start with the why, and then let's back into why is it good to look good on paper. And then let's back into some strategies to help, and then how to propel that into wealth building.
Yes, 1,000%. And I love what you said, because there's two things going on right here, right? Bad credit is expensive. Bad credit is an outcome. Usually bad credit is the outcome of not enough income. But some people are like, I got a credit issue. And I'm like, well, what's your credit issue? My credit cards are maxed out and I don't have the money to pay it. That's not a credit issue. That's an income issue. That's a budgeting issue. You've maxed out your card. Like, that's not, you don't wipe
that's a decision-making issue, right?
Right.
That's spending money you've not yet earned.
1,000, that's even a financial literacy issue, right? Not understanding how important credit is. So bad credit is expensive. Bad credit, and mind you, in 2024, what people don't realize, and many people are learning, is that in this day and age that we're in, credit impacts so much more than just buying things. It impacts, look, life insurance, auto insurance, jobs, alarm systems, utilities, cell phones, right? So back in the day, I was like, oh, I want to buy something and I need to have good credit. Now it's like, I got denied for a job. I got denied for a promotion because of my credit. You would be surprised. And so that's the bad credit. And part of the root, though, is education, financial literacy, but it's also even pouring back in and getting the right information out. And even I was saying something I'm focusing on a little bit more now is even like our youth, like getting to them in that high school, college kind of time frame, so that if you form the good financial habits young, they'll have good habits later on. So what I found is that adults don't have good habits because they were never taught the information. So that's really getting to some of the root of it. Now, you transform what we really teach at high level strategies, which my channel is about, my brand is about, is that leveraging credit can also be a wealth building tactic. So I only use my credit for income producing assets or income producing information. So I'm not getting red bottoms. I'm not getting Rolexes. I'm not getting jets unless my business owns it. That's another thing. Story. All right. But this is where I'm using my credit for things like to invest and start my business, to invest in personnel, marketing, real estate. And then when I say income producing information, that's coaches, conferences, mentoring, online courses. So I can calculate that I invested $1,000 in a coach and I was able to execute on that information. And then my business revenue went from, $5,000 a month to $10,000 a month. So that was a great investment, my ROI. And so I invest on information that can also level up. And
that is so good.
Things.
Because the only reason to get a liability, I tell people, is to buy an asset.
Yep.
But I like the way you broke it down, because see, most people, I believe is, I know, it's not even believe, I know your number one asset is you.
Yep, 1,000%.
Right. So the way you just said that, right? So if you're your number one asset, then investing in would you say income producing information, and income producing assets. Great leaders are great students. And so I cannot tell you how people, we'll talk about like the 1%, the 5%, they value information, because all your knowledge, skills, and experience got you here. So a lot of times, if you've had some success, any success, you're ambitious, you have vision, you have goals, you can follow tasks. There's a knowledge gap. So I need a coach, I need a mentor, I need to read more books, I need a conference, executing that information. Now my bottom line doubles. That's a great investment. Yes, because money follows value, right? And so you have to invest in, like, people say the wrong thing. So they're wired wrong. I need more money. That's not the problem, right? Because money is a result. Yes. Right. And so you need to turn the thought off of you, right, and other people. How can I serve more people, right? How can I solve more problems for more people, right? And what skills has God given me that I can solve people? You look at my business. I have this book called The 1 Minute Businessman Devotional. And one of the chapters is, your business is a solution to somebody's problem.
1,000%.
And so, but if you don't know how to do anything, you can't solve anybody's problem, right? Because you can't bring value to the marketplace. So by investing, because a lot of people, they won't even bother. Can you loan me a book? No, I'm not loaning you a book. Go buy the book. You need a library. Rich people have libraries.
Yes.
And if I say Rich Dad Poor Dad, don't go to the library. You need to buy the book, right? So that you can take notes in the margins. And like, if I give kids a book now, you talk about youth, I was just telling somebody, I said, I will give them a book. I'll give them a book. Like, I'll give my niece and nephews, like not Rich Dad Poor Dad, Richest Man in Babylon.
Yep.
So, but I have to soften it. So I give them a gift card. They want money, right? This is a Christmas time, right?
Yep.
But I gave them a book and a journal, right? So I bought journals. So I said, listen, here is what you use a journal for. What did you learn from what you read in the book? So, all right. So anyway, you make me trigger other thoughts.
But I love that. And I love even that you said, so I call it monetizing your passion, right? So I love to talk, right? You know what I mean? And I was able to get a skill. And so you even fast forward to my YouTube, I'm using my gifts. That's biblical. I have a wealth building ministry. I'm using my gifts to serve. And as a result of that, I'm building my own legacy and helping other people. I would venture to say that God gives us all gifts, right? And so there is somebody out there that maybe you're not a multimillionaire, but maybe you own one house. Well, then to the person that doesn't own a house, you can walk them through the home buying process, how to vet realtors, how to, get a mortgage pre-approval. Like there's somebody that knows less than you. So you have to figure out what that passion and gift is. And then who is the community you serve? Who is the person that maybe you're not the multi-million-dollar investor, but you have had some success, that there is somebody at this level that you can bless. And people don't monetize their passion. And so that's, once you know,
which is how you create new money. I have to go there. I've talked to me after a while. I just
let me just say one thing.
Yeah, please.
Because you said, and I want everybody to really hear this. Money does not solve your problem. This is why people that hit the lottery, by wide and far, there's so many articles, they go broke because money was not the solution to their problem. It was education, it was financial literacy, it was mindset. This is why even there's been articles and stuff about, people in the NBA going filing bankruptcy, people in the NFL, right? Because they're the first in their family to be a multimillionaire. They've come from a certain background. We made it. But if nobody has taken the time to learn how to invest the money, grow the money, save the money, put things in place, because that time frame where you're going to be a superstar is going to be 5 to 10 years. That's not a 30-year, 40-year for most people.
Right.
Then it dwindles. So money is not the solution. Education, financial literacy equals financial freedom, not getting more money.
Talk about it. So, so let's let's take, what are some of the, even starting with the youth, but what are some of maybe 2 or 3, let's talk about credit first.
Yes.
That mistakes that they're making or with their credit or their understanding of credit. So we talk about the cost of bad credit, right?
Yes.
Make your insurance more expensive. It could cost you a job.
Yep.
So now what can they be doing? Because a lot of people come to me like, all right, I got to work on my credit. Now, I would argue that ain't the first thing, but it is a thing, right? So I want to give them the steps to that thing.
Yes, 1,000%. So I could go on, and so I'll give some. I'm not really big on fluff, right? So I like to give some tangible things. And so one thing I realize is that people have no idea what's on their credit. They have no idea what their credit scores are. Somebody told me I had a collection. Got my credit pulled 3 months ago. No, you yourself. Pull your FICO credit scores. We're not using Credit Karma. We're not using Credit Check Total. We're not using Credit Sesame. You want to pull your FICO scores because that's what business credit lenders, that's what real estate lenders, that's what the big banks use. I recommend going to Credit Check Total or My FICO. That will give you FICO scores for all 3 credit bureaus. So you always start with knowing exactly where you are right now. And I'll add a nugget right there is don't just look at your score. You have to spend the time to actually look at your reports because Kim may need to pay down utilization. Mike may have late payments. John may have a bankruptcy. Rebecca may have no credit at all. So then the symptom to fix your credit is going to depend on what the problem is. So pull your reports, look at your reports, diagnose the problem first. That way you can come up with a plan to actually fix it. And the next thing I'm going to say is, absolutely. And this is people are shocked when they hear me say it's because I'm technically, a credit, in the credit industry. You should not be paying anybody for credit repair. It's not a thing. It does not work. If it was true that one person could write a letter and delete everything from your credit report, that person would be a billionaire and everybody would have an 800 score. Right. Come on, somebody, right? So a better use of your money is getting training and education because you may be able to pay down utilization with that money, add credit builder accounts with that money, do your own dispute letters with that money. Do you know what I mean? Do a pay for a delete or a settlement. So that's a better use to have a tangible result with your credit. So do not hire anybody. Invest the time in learning and educating yourself.
Because people charge them $1,200, $1,500 to
way more than that.
Their credit, and I got this old stuff. I've got these charge-offs, and technically, isn't that about like credit hit? Now, there's a history. It's like 15. What they're paying all this money for is really about 10 or 15% of the FICO score total.
Well, even more than that. So late payments and negative items are 35% of your FICO score, right? But the biggest thing is that this is the thing that the credit repair people kind of put in small writing and nobody pays attention to. A valid negative debt can be reported for 7 years. I used to work for TransUnion, so I've been certified in all the laws. So the loophole is that you're paying somebody $1,500, you're paying somebody $100 a month to delete a repo that was valid. You did get the car and you did not pay the car because maybe for whatever reason, and the car was a valid repo. You can write 10,000 letters. You can write letters that you're blue in the face. If it's a valid debt and they can prove it, it's not going anywhere. So you wasted that money. So, and they won't tell you that those keep on taking your money because the law is valid negative items. So then when you try to go hire an attorney or go to the judge, well, I try to get them to delete a valid negative item. That's not what you're supposed to do. The Fair Credit Reporting Act is invalid. Right. Invalid, inaccurate, outdated things come off. So that's the loophole that people are wasting their time, money, and energy on. So there are ways to remedy this. And I would even say action item out here. I said, pull your reports, look at your reports. Don't pay for credit repair. But the other thing is define what your goal is. I want to fix my credit. You'll be fixing your credit forever. So I have people, I'm like, what is your goal? I want to buy my first house. Okay, great. What's your credit score? 670, but I need to get to an 800. No, you don't for an FHA mortgage pre-approval. You can get an FHA mortgage pre-approval for 620 and 640. Sometimes I speak to people and I can get them their goal like in 24 hours, 40 hours by making a phone call. Right. So I want to use my credit to buy a house. I'm a first-time home buyer. I want to get an FHA mortgage pre-approval. I need a 620, 640 credit score. You're not looking to be perfect. You're looking to be good enough to get the thing you need, because even getting that mortgage then 12, 24 months of paying that one time, now your score goes up even more. Now you do have your 700 and your 800. So for everybody out there, what are you trying to use your credit for? Credit is not a goal. Credit is the vehicle to get you to your goal. For me, it was I need credit to buy real estate, and then from there to build business credit, and from there to build, my wealth building empire.
Right, right.
Yes,
I think that's really important. It's because too many people think that's the end. It's just a means
it's
to
just
the end. And most people have not defined the end, the outcome, the result they want. And it's I always tell people it's hard to reach a target you don't have.
1,000%. It's impossible. You can't even think about it. Like, you're a coach, you're a business expert. If somebody comes to you and says, I need help, I need an insurance plan, but they don't know how much money they need, they don't know how many dependents they have, they don't know you have the knowledge to help them, but nobody can make a plan for you if you're not unaware of where the goal is. I call it the GPS system, right? Where are you at now, and where do you want to go? And you have to know both things and put together a plan.
Right.
But if you know where you're at now and you don't know where you want to go, I don't care what you do. The GPS isn't broken. It's the fact that you didn't tell it where to go. Right. So it's defining the goal to put together a plan to get there.
There's two parts of it. Like we it's funny. We have a program called Financial GPS, right? And it's like, right. So thank you for the shout out.
Confirmation.
Right. So, but it's like, I want to do this. And a lot of times I got to help them define that because it's so vague and wishy-washy, right? Yeah. But then, okay, but where are you now? And they don't want to look at that, right? And I always tell people, you have to look at it. It is what it is. And all progress begins with the truth, right? Yeah. So you gotta start with the truth. So that's all right. So now that's some serious stuff. So I will go through this. I want to put these in the show notes. Like here, see what I want you to do. You should listen to this more than once. She just gave you like 5 steps. Yep. Okay, 5 actionable things. Go to my FICO, or what's the other one?
Go to my FICO or credit check total.
Credit check total, and pull your report, see what's on it. What's because you got to see what's on it. Now maybe you could have somebody that knows how to read it. Sometimes when I first would pull them, I had a friend of mine in mortgage, but this is like back in the day, and I started doing mortgage. I didn't know up from down, like and what I was looking at and what I was trying to do, but I always tell people, Terry, it's your money, right? So people abdicate their responsibility, to understand their taxes. I mean, not taxes, their credit, their taxes. Like you signed it. You didn't even know what's on it, right? You can't just put you putting money in a 401k. You don't even know what funds you're in, who manages them, nothing. Mm-hmm. You just, and so you can't have any strategy built on hope, right? Most financial, this is my challenge with the financial planning industry. It's all built on hope, right? Yep. And hope and a good strategy, right? So now let's fast forward so now we've got your credit moving in the right direction because you understand the right fundamentals. Okay. So now, and you help people do that, but I know I've watched some of your YouTubes lately. You've been transitioning to helping people business wise, helping people, and you talk about let's talk about this, building multiple streams of income, and moving towards, because what you've been able to do is leverage this into creating financial freedom for yourself, right?
1,000%.
And so now let's talk about that journey. Yeah, some highlights that they can take from that journey, because that's why they're watching. That's why that's what they want.
Yeah, and I'll even give you like one nugget for the personal credit. I'll give you 2 quick things right here. Annualcreditreport.com. That's the only website authorized by the Federal Trade Commission to give copies of reports to consumers. The reason why that's a consumer disclosure copy, everything is spelled out with that copy, annualcreditreport.com. That means if you have never seen a credit report before in your life and you get a copy from that website, you can read through it. And then obviously, nugget, I have a free YouTube channel where I teach people this. So the only investment is your time. And so with business credit, if you're trying to, and I'm just going to be transparent, right? And everybody is not meant, let me give the disclaimer. Everybody's not meant to be a self-employed entrepreneur. I'm not saying that, but what I am saying is that everybody is meant to build wealth. And if you're trying to pay 20 bills and invest and save and build legacy with one job and one paycheck, you're in trouble, right? It's too close to zero. And so, I'm an advocate for one of the fastest ways to speed up building wealth is multiple streams of income, right? And then you invest and there's different ways, to actually do it. And so for me, I now have, several businesses, but I have 20 streams of income, 20, right. And mind you, I didn't say now I didn't say I do 20 things. I'm not doing credit and doing your hair and interior designer and all those things. But one of my businesses, like my consulting firm, is multiple streams, like speaking and affiliate links and coaching and YouTube, right? And so you pick one thing, you become an expert at it, and then you diversify it. So that's where the business credit comes in. I teach people.
So you have an ecosystem of stuff. And so, because here's the thing, people hear that and they go, all right, I gotta do this, and they try to do 5 things at the same time.
Recipe for disaster.
You do one thing.
Yes.
But you've added, there's different nuances to it where people need stuff. And then because products are tools to solve problems, right? So when you identify the problem,
yep.
Entrepreneurs solve problems, right? So now you create a tool to solve that, and that becomes part of Terri's ecosystem.
Yeah. So let me give you an example. I'm a business consultant. So my consulting firm, some of those streams are what? Now my YouTube channel is monetized. YouTube pays me, right? I have online courses. That's a stream. I'm a business coach. That's a stream. I have jumpstart sessions where people on my team do coaching. That's a stream. I have a Patreon. That's a stream. Speaking engagements. That's a stream. So I'm not doing 20 things. Don't be mediocre at 5 things. Be excellent at one and diversify it.
Yes.
Now, let me give you, this is one of the things that was a mindset shift right here. Now, I'll say it quickly, but, I even have somebody in my network that I coached, and she wrote a book. That's all she did. She wrote a book. That's it. She made it like 10 streams of income, because from the book, then she then had a t-shirt line. Then she then had a hat line. Then she made an ebook. Then she made an online course. Then she made a masterclass. Then she did a cruise, like a cruise where she had authors come on. So all she did was make the book, but then she made that multiple streams from that one thing, and now has created financial freedom. Not doing 20 things, doing one thing in excellence. So that's what I teach with business credit. That, now you've worked on your personal. For personal, it's your name, your social, your date of birth. For business, it's your business, your EIN, and your DUNS number. But the blessing is that every EIN has its own borrowing power. You can only build credit for your social. So now if I have my social and I have good credit, and I have 3 businesses, I'm a coach, I'm a podcaster, and I'm an author. Well, let's say I have 3 EINs. Well, and real estate, because most people, like 85% of people that build wealth, have like some real estate somewhere in their portfolio, right?
Right.
So let's say I have 4 EINs. Now I can build business credit for all 4 of them. Game changer. Right. Game changer. And that's where you start to actually build wealth. And I'll add something that you like, because I thought about you with this, is that when you start moving up them tax brackets, it's not even about how much money you make, it's about how much money you save. Yeah. So having the business credit gives you opens you up to some of those legitimate tax write-offs, right? Where you can still have some money, but you can still keep more money in your pocket. And so I teach people to monetize their side hustle, monetize their gift, and use their business credit to then reinvest back into the business. They're not using their own money.
That's awesome. One of the things because we kind of talk, I'm sure we have other cultures that follow us, but I always tell people I'm Black. I happen to know a lot of Black people, right? That we're talking to. And a lot of times we have like sales or business is like a curse word. It's getting better because we're more entrepreneurially oriented.
Yep.
And because the tax code is designed for landowners and business owners, right?
Say it again. Listen, right? If you have no business, no land, no dependent, it is made for business.
It is made. Owners. And so what happens is now, what will banks loan money on? Real estate, right? And so what happens is, and it's not even my favorite asset class. My favorite asset class is business, actually. So the fastest path to cash is business, right? You make money that you buy real estate with zero out your taxes, right? But you need other people's money. See, so what happens is I always tell people, look, you're not trying to get out of debt. Like that's not a thing, right? Yeah. There's constructive debt and there's destructive debt. Yeah. So, like what Terri named at the beginning, there's really a lot of different things in there, but basically the 2 things of constructive debt to invest in you and your education, and debt to invest in to buy assets, because income follows assets.
1,000%, 1,000%.
And that's the thing. And then what you got to do is you can't go buy stuff, because if you got to pay for it, it's bad debt.
And mind you, so we'll even talk about this stuff, right? So we'll talk about, even with this social media age, looking so flashy. And I'm just going to say, when I go to these business conferences, I'm just going to look, do I have permission to be me real quick? Because
Yes,
listen,
come on now.
when I go to these business conferences and I'll see the person in the audience, they got Gucci hat, Gucci watch, Gucci jumpsuit, Gucci everything, right? And then there's a person in the corner that has on jeans, a t-shirt, and the Converses. That's the billionaire. Come on, somebody, because when you get to a certain thing, you value different things. And so my point to that is that sometimes we want to look wealthy before we build wealth. But even a hat, because we're not saying that you shouldn't create. I think you should create the lifestyle that you desire, but you put your assets over your liability. So one thing that people ask me about a lot, and I even have a training on it, is how to buy a car in your business name, right? And so even think about the solo, entrepreneur, and a realtor, right? Say you're even a sole proprietor, but you're using your car for open houses, you're using your car to go to conferences, you use your car to go back and forth to the office, you're using your car to go pick up clients, and people are not leveraging their situation to participate. So then by that person incorporating and being a single member LLC, and then building a business credit, then buying the car with the business credit, now the business owns the car, you also open yourself up to some tax liabilities, and also that car is not on your personal credit, it's not messing up your debt to income ratio. So I have cars, multiple cars, it's one of my streams of income, and my business owns all of them.
Okay,
Look, come on,
that's
somebody,
come on now.
listen.
I don't do that. And I have how many? I have two. I have one seasoned LLC that generates good money. I got a new one because I'm trying to do what you're doing. So I have practical wealth education. So now we're trying to get our ecosystem course thing on, right?
Yes.
And but I hadn't thought about that. So you just said it. Why? And
information changes situations.
I should know better, right? So and so what does it say? A change viewpoint can change your life. So that hopefully we're. And that's why I want to bring her in front of you, because I want you to see, ladies, but it doesn't matter, men. She comes from where you come from, and it's created financial freedom. She's been doing it a while, but you basically, would you say because one of the things I try to, you can go from zero to the top in less than 10 years, less than 5 years. Is that accurate? Would you say?
That is, and what I will say is this. So ironically, about 70% of my audience is male. So I'm not because you nugget right here. If anybody's a YouTuber or aspires to be a YouTuber, the analytics of social media and your business accounts are crazy. So I did not know that. So I'm out here to educate everybody. I'm not sure if it's because of the industry that I'm in, like real estate and finance and all those things. Yeah. But the thing to that is that I had no idea is that it was a journey. I did some real estate, and remember, I'm 45, guys, so I was before the market crash. So I was young, I had credit, but we didn't have online courses, and I didn't have all the mentorship. So I made a lot of mistakes, which makes me a great coach now, right? Because I tell you what to do, what not to do. So I did my corporate when the market crash happened and everything was a disaster. I went back to corporate America. Listen, we're gonna be real, because Jesus, I feel like people get success and they talk about all their highlights, they don't talk about the journey. And as people are going through the valley and you're coming up against hurdles, you think that you're doing something wrong. It's part of the process. Right. So I did a stint of corporate America. I got my degrees from Villanova University, had them paid for it. And then I just realized that this was not my calling. I was just making a bunch of rich people more rich. So I went back to the thing people keep on asking me about: credit. And when I launched this business right here in 2017. Mm-hmm. I retired myself from corporate America at the age of 38. Mm-hmm. Best decision of my life. And once I took my business online in 2020, going online so I could then stop seeing, this is business principles, I teach business. Mm-hmm. Instead of seeing client to client, now I can see people in groups. Now it took my business from local to regional to national to international. So then being able to leverage social media and leverage online digital products, then 10x my business. Mm-hmm. And so this is where I would say is that build the thing first. What problem do you solve? What void do you fill? Who is your audience? And what is your product or service? I can't tell you how many times people come to me. I want to help people. How do you help them? I want to help people. Who do you help? I want to help people. No, I help, say you're a fitness trainer. I help mothers who brand new mothers lose their baby weight in 90 days by my, online book and my meal planning thing. You have to have a product or service for people to actually pay you for. Yeah. You have to do the thing. And it's going to be hard in the beginning because you're the marketing, you're the inventory, you're the sales, you're the bankroll, you're everything. But then once you get it good, then you grow it and you scale it and you diversify. And what I've made in my business from 2017 to now compared to all my corporate America.
Yeah.
I was making more in one day than my entire paycheck when I left my job.
Yeah. Yeah. That's awesome. But you did it while you were at your job.
The first. So I did something not smart, but I did so in the very beginning. You know what I mean? I left my great big corporate job. I just
Okay.
y'all, and I have a master's in human resources development, so I know better. I'm just gonna be honest with you, right? I just didn't go back one day. That's a whole other story for another day,
Okay.
right? Like executive position, all those kinds of things.
Right.
And then I realized, and people need to hear this, I realized I had a gift, I had ambition, I had a skill, but I didn't know how to be an entrepreneur. I didn't know how to run a business. I didn't know how to get clients. And so it got real dark. I had some dark days real fast, all those savings, all that credit. And I realized, okay, I had to humble myself and say, I need more help in this area. So I took a contract position for a year. I gave myself a set time frame. For a year, I'm going to work this position. I'm going to work my business in the evenings, on the weekends. Look, on my lunch, before break, I was in my car, guys. And this is real talk. I was in my car doing clients on my lunch break when I had my $40,000 contractor position. And I reinvested that money into my business. And then I left completely and was completely self-employed. But making that mistake in the beginning humbled me to say, okay, I have this skill, but I don't necessarily know how to run a successful business.
Yes, I'm so glad you said that, because that's what I want people to hear. You know, Jim Rohn would say, wages make you a living, profits make you a fortune.
We
right?
love us some Jim Rohn.
Yeah.
I love you some Jim Rohn. Look, I'm on at least one book a month for everybody I coach.
Yeah, I tell them, listen, just go on YouTube and Google Jim Rohn and listen to a Jim Rohn a day in the morning, right?
Yeah,
and because what he says that I try to incorporate into our communication with people is he says what does he say? You're well.
He says a lot of things.
I
mean, I would say Jim Rohn, I would say Bob Proctor, I would say like you Zig Ziglar.
Yeah, so you got to have stuff, starting with the Bible. You got to have stuff in you.
Yes.
So that, like when stuff hits you, what are you pulling from? Like, because you're going to have dark days, right?
Oh, you're going to have some dark days.
And you got to learn how to be an entrepreneur. So you got to learn how to sell. You got to learn how to train. You got to learn how to, and so you might as well, I always viewed a job as a temporary inconvenience.
I say use your job as your investor.
As your investor.
So any extra money, or you're using that to pay your bills. So then what are you doing? Look, the difference between people who are wildly successful and people who are struggling is only two things: what they spend their time on and who they spend their time with, period. So are you doing a Netflix marathon, or are you doing a master class? Are you, going to happy hour? Or are you investing in a coach? Are you on the phone with your girlfriends, or are you spending time watching, a podcast that can give you tangible nuggets, right? And that's it. And mind you, this is a resource. We're here to help, but we're saying we need to talk about it. We have to stop fluffing it. We grown adults. We have we want to build generation wealth. We have people depending on it. So we need to talk about the things that make us uncomfortable, because success leaves clues. It's not a coincidence that so many people that have success say the same exact thing. So you need to get that information, and thank God we're in an age where YouTube and, Google, because look, back in the day, we didn't even have all that.
Right. Amazon. Whereas if you get a book, I was showing people, I was doing a webinar last night. I said, listen, here's the recommended reading list on my website.
Oh, I love it.
It takes to my Google page. But the great thing about Google, it says those who have read this have read this also, right?
Yeah,
and so that's how now you can go deeper in the subject of you still have to do it, right? Because activity produces knowledge. So let's be, it's all been practical, but let's say you've run into somebody. So now I want to go into the business coaching, because I want them to show you. So I'm going to let you coach me for 5 minutes.
Yes, let's go.
The podcast.
You don't need a coach, but I got you.
The hell I don't. The podcast is free consulting for Curtis. No.
I love it. It's wise.
So, but let's say I guess I have a professional services business. I do, principles-based financial planning, right? Yep. And so people think I sell insurance. Insurance is the product that we do result. Because I was working on somebody on a webinar, like, oh, you sell insurance. No, my goal is to help people make it. Really, what I sell is transformation. That's what I realize, from what to what. But when you're like, if you were working with me, like, what would you start the conversation with? Because I want people thinking about, hey, I might need to call her, right? So I want you to, and then, because I believe your number one investment is your business. It's not giving some fund manager 1,000 miles away that you've never met. But a lot of people don't look at the low-hanging fruit that can generate hundreds of thousands of dollars for them.
1,000%, yeah, because my business generates the income for me to have like my infinite banking policies and things of that nature, right? And that's how I set those. So
and that's just as where you store the cash. You still have to make the cash, right?
Right. Come on, somebody! Look, you like my pastor said, you're preaching real good now. Yes. And so I'll start the basics. And mind you, because of where you are, you have some of the things in place. But some of the small things that people can do right now is, no matter what, if you're looking to build and leverage business credit, looking to truly have a business where you can have tax write-offs and all those things, you have to incorporate your business, period. Stop just having a DBA, stop just having a website, stop spending time on your logo, incorporate your business. I recommend, so you can do it yourself. You can hire an attorney, but I like the online services like incorporate.com and like InkFile. And the reason being is because those are services that specialize in small business formation all day long, every single day. A lot of times you can get it done for $500, $300 and under. You just have to pay your state fees and they will do your articles of incorporation. They'll get your, you do your EIN on your own, but sometimes you get a package to get your EIN. You'll get your bylaws, like anything you want, they can do an LLC, a S Corp, a C Corp, a nonprofit, everything. So remember, your most valuable asset is your time. So incorporate your business, period, because that's how you want, even when you're getting business credit, you want to be in your EIN. So you have to have a legal entity to start getting what I call the big money.
Right.
Number two is have an EIN. Even if you don't have employees, it's what people miss, because your business credit is going to be in your EIN's name. You know what I mean? And so that's where you have to have that available to be able to secure the funding. Number three, always have a business bank account. I do not care if you have $0 and 0 cents. Sometimes for even funding, they look at how long you've had the banking history over how long you've been incorporated. And that will even lead me to later on, because when you're looking at your first business credit card, your first business loan, your business auto loan, one of the places I teach people to go is to leverage those banking relationships. So if I have, a business bank account with Chase, a business bank account with TD, a business bank account with Truist, and I have that relationship, one of the first things I want to do when I want to get a business credit card, a business loan, is a lot of times make an appointment. This is an action item with your small business banker, especially these regional banks. The regional banks have so much money for entrepreneurs and people just don't qualify for it because their paperwork ain't right. Now, I said nothing about Cash App. I said nothing about Zelle. I said nothing about Venmo. I said have an actual business bank account, and you need your EIN and your entity to actually do that. So now you can have some of the back end things. And then what I would say is that you have to spend time on what is your product or service. So you have a product or service, right? You know what I mean? You do consulting. So for everybody out there, how are you going to monetize that? I don't care if it's even just a Calendly link and you have a free 15-minute one and you charge $100 for people to talk to you for an hour. Start somewhere and get somebody paying you for something, because you will grow with your business. And then more importantly, from helping some of the people who say you do free 15-minute consultations for the first 30 days. Why are you doing that? To hear their pain points, to hear their questions, to get results, to get testimonials. I teach people to scale to 7 figures, but you have to start here with your product or service and being legal. And then when you're talking about leveraging business credit, I'll just end with this. Somebody like a product or service. So I use social media a lot. Is that the best use of my time? Am I an expert there? No. So one of my very first full-time hires in my business was what? A virtual assistant that specialized in social media. Wow. I do a YouTube video. 90% of my Instagram is not me. She does my thumbnail. She does my short. She does my tags. She does, she cuts my videos up. She makes my IG reels. So for you, is it marketing? Is it payroll? Is it your bookkeeper? Is it an assistant to do customer service so you can do more of the thing? But you need to know where you need to invest the business credit that's going to be income producing. Let me just add that. Define in your business the income producing activity. It's probably not the colors of your logo. It's probably the messaging. It's probably how you get the product out. It's probably defining what the product is and getting it in front of the people who need your product or service. And so hopefully that was a good start.
Because here's the thing, priority number one, always make money, right? And so people don't focus on, like I focus on every week, the cash register needs to get every day really, but I'm anal. I do my P&Ls like every week. Here's what I made this week. Here's what I spent. And I'm actually knowing that most people are bad at this. I'm creating a JV with a bookkeeper, and I'm going to really create that, because a lot of people, what you're talking about, the problem I see is they don't really have the infrastructure of cash flow management, right?
Yeah.
Another thing I see when people get business credit, this is actually a pet peeve of mine. People get the credit, but they don't really have revenue. And so, and they don't, their financials are all jumbled up. So half the time I'm separating church and state, so to speak. You know what I mean? Here is the business credit that you have, but all right, what is the revenue? Because the revenue from the business should be paying back the business credit. And what you're doing is because they don't have clarity, they're subsidizing it from their job money, and they wonder why they're broke, because they're making all this money, but no, you're not really, because you don't look at your numbers.
1,000%. So my language is always, and part of my brand is leveraging your personal and business credit to build wealth. And so just what you said, if you're just getting business credit and you don't have any use for it to make income producing, or you're just paying off debt or personal credit, that's a recipe for disaster, because business credit is not free. Personally, you have to have a way to actually pay it back and have a surplus, right? You know what I mean? And so it's about really going back to the core of your business and then having a good use for your personal and business credit so that you can actually have a surplus, have ROI. I'm always looking at ROI.
ROI. You got it. So you got to watch your numbers. Credit is a way needs to enhance your numbers. If it doesn't make you money, don't do it.
Right. And I don't even want to say, you said it earlier, but you can have the best product or service. You could be the best landscaper, the best barber, the best hairstylist, the best business coach, the best author. If you, a principle of business, if people forget, if you don't have clients or customers, you don't have a business. So you have to have marketing. You have to get your thing out there. I always say people cannot support you if they don't know what you do. If I go to your Instagram or your social media, your LinkedIn, I have no idea what you do, that's your first problem. It should be totally clear when I click on whatever it is, your website, your LinkedIn, your Facebook, wherever you're at, your Twitter, anything. It should be perfectly clear who you are, who you serve, and how I can hire you, period.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you're in the marketing business. So like if you're not, marketing, one time I gave a talk to this insurance agent in Cincinnati last year, and it was like, y'all think you're all in the insurance business or the financial planner or financial advisory business. You're in the marketing business, right? And then what I add to that, everywhere so let's say you draw a circle, you put marketing in the middle. Cross out marketing and put education.
1,000%.
And because of what I've discovered for me, somebody in my church told me, "Curtis, you're not using your gifts." And I didn't realize what my gift was, but she told me it was speaking. Like 5 years before I thought that, because I'm
I love it.
Teacher, because I'm a nerd. So what I found my superpower was I could read something, think about it, take the highlights from a yellow pad and teach it to you, or like on a napkin. And I found that curation and teaching what seem as complex, I can break down and make it simple, right? So, but all of you all, as you're listening to this, is, I always tell people, what's your unique ability? What comes easy to you that other people find hard? Right?
1,000%.
Where you can use that to solve a problem for somebody else, and that now becomes the foundation of your enterprise, that you can create a product around, that you can build an EIN number with, that you can get business credit, so you can leverage that to buy or build cash flowing assets. Is that a good?
That's 1,000%. And mind you, the reason why business credit is so useful is because it's so many more types of business credit and so much higher amounts, right? Because the way businesses use credit is way different. So I have people who have gone through coaching and go through courses and all those things. They're at $400,000, $500,000 in business credit in 6 months.
Wow.
Game changer money.
Game changer money. So tell them, Terri, this is awesome. So what I want to do is they need to talk to you. So tell them about your education. She has a really robust YouTube channel, how they can, follow you and work with you. And let me ask, before I say that, I want you to say that, but anything I should have asked you that I didn't ask you that you want to say?
You know what? This was a conversation, and you did absolutely amazing. No, because you and I can talk forever, right? And so, I also find that sometimes too much information can be overloaded. When people are overloaded and overwhelmed, they do absolutely nothing. And so hopefully the tangible nuggets, are enough. And what I would say is that, I made my YouTube channel in 2020 as a free resource for the community, for people during COVID, for people who wanted to invest in services, because I'm a consulting firm. Look, I'm not a nonprofit, I'm a consulting firm. People who wanted to invest in services and could not afford to hire me. And so, and the reason why I did it ended up being a whole blessing though, right? Because it became monetized and all those things. But what I tell people is, with something, when you have a free resource, that means the only investment is your time. The only investment is your time. And so if you want to learn about business credit, you can go, my YouTube is my name, Terri Couser, the credit expert. And I actually even have 4 playlists. I have a business credit building playlist, credit repair, credit score, and a home buyer playlist, because I have over 1,500 videos now. But if you're looking for just the business credit videos, you can click on that. And then obviously, because I'm a consulting firm, I have my Patreon, which is a membership type model where I do live Q&A and live workshops. And then you can hire me. You can invest in a coaching session where I help people scale to 6 figures. And then for my current business owner, scale to 7 figures.
Is that a session or a program?
That is, so right now I do one-on-one coaching sessions. I used to have group coaching, and I don't now. I kind of replace that with the Patreon, where I do a bigger group and there's a much smaller investment. And so Nugget, I try to have, as you're scaling a 7-figure brand, you want to service all the communities. I have something free, something mid-level. I have my online courses. And then for my bigger, I have people that invest in coaching sessions every single month. So the reason why I took away like a 6-month model is because you should get the information, be able to execute, get your ROI before you reinvest in another session. So I have some entrepreneurs that do every month, some do every other month, and then we build on the session before. But you have the freedom to invest in a session whenever you want.
I love that. We'll talk about that later.
I love it.
The fear I always have is, because you could do gurus, you need premium price, you need this and that. But my fear is I don't want to leave people behind.
But see, you have your podcast, you have books, you have other things. And so there's always going to be, and one of my coaches, and mind you, Nugget, you're always going to have your premium people, your VIPs who want that one-on-one time. So when I have to show up one-on-one, it's a higher investment. And that's because the information I share in the session usually equals 5 to 6 figures for people.
Yeah.
So if you're not able to get that, you have free resources to be able to reinvest in that, or you utilize the free resources to do so.
That's good. I think that just that thought process, because I run into people that want to do a business, they've got an idea, they want to do counseling. And I think that part, a lot of people don't know how to package their information. I'm thinking of a person I was talking to, and they did a course, tried to do a course, it didn't sell. And, they've got a child, a special needs child, and they need to make money from home, but they gave up on what they're doing. I said, no, it doesn't mean it doesn't work. You just don't know how to work it yet.
1,000%. And I have an online course also. I have an online course too. And so there's strategy. So you don't stumble on being a 6 and 7 figure entrepreneur. There's so much more planning behind it. And so it's even who's your audience, who's your client or customer. Maybe it wasn't even 1-to-1. Maybe it went to, she would sell that course to a nonprofit, and the nonprofit would give it for free to those people. So sometimes it's the business model. It's testing your audience first and finding out that there's a need. Is that what they really want? Is that the person that's going to be
people want to sell what they want? This is we're not going to go here, but they want to sell what they want. This is my passion. Newsflash, nobody cares what you want, right?
1,000%.
The market wants what it wants. So
you're going to look at their pain points, and then be able to articulate their pain points.
We should do it. I want to do another show, just business strategy, because that's my favorite conversation. So,
yes.
Terri, thank you so much for blessing my audience today and coming on the Practical Wealth Show. I'm so excited. We've talked, but I wanted to let them hear the brilliance I hear when I get to talk to you one-on-one. So I just thank you so much for sharing today.
No, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. And I'll end with one nugget. I love to say I'll end with one thing. I do not take business, credit, or financial advice from anybody I would not trade lifestyles with.
There you go.
Listen, stop having your coworker tell you how to build wealth and their car just got repoed.
That's right.
Stop having your cousin tell you how to start a business and they're not an entrepreneur. Come on, somebody. Sometimes we don't have the results because we're getting all this. You should, and have you done from people who do not have the tangible results. So respectfully, I appreciate your opinion, but if you do not have the outcomes, I'm taking it with a grain of salt.
Come on now. So I'm going to end with that. So guys, this is a go back, listen to again, write some stuff down from this. And if you hear some good stuff here, go follow her on YouTube. You'll be blessed. And then, share this with somebody that needs to hear it. Leave us a review and go make it a prosperous day. Thanks again for listening to the Practical Wealth Show.
Thank you.
Are you ready to take control of your financial future? Hi there. I'm Curtis May, and I'm here to help you achieve your financial goals. Do you want to be the customer bank, or would you like to be the bank? Subscribe to our channel for regular updates, valuable insights from experts in different fields. You know, the name of the game, guys, is cash flow. Okay. You can't eat equity. And our goal is to help you build, we call it being a cash flownaire, which is passive income twice your expenses outside of Wall Street, where possible, right? Which it is quite possible. And so if you're interested in learning more about our services, here is what I challenge you to do, or I invite you to do, I won't say challenge, is to take our financial freedom quiz. See where you are, okay? Don't wait any longer to take control of your financial future. Let's begin this journey together.